Hey, I'm 60 KB out here with you on a beautiful Monday morning. And I ended up with two people in this morning. Greg Wilkins is with me.
Yeah. Hey,
and,
morning.
and Bill's back. I haven't seen you in a month, Bill.
Good morning. Good morning.
I thought you were busy at work.
Traveling and working and been a little crazy.
Oh, crazy's good. I saw you this weekend. You were, gosh, you must have poured 100 beers.
I was pouring a lot of beer.
I think you did drink them all, but
Yeah, thank goodness.
At the Mardi
it was busy out there at Mardi Gras. They had a really good turnout.
Did they?
We had a lot of, we had two beer, well, actually three.
Yeah, you had the VIP one and
yeah.
two others.
But yeah, we poured a lot of beer.
You had bands at each end of the highway, each end of the road there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. So Fort Yuma Road.
You had a fortune teller.
I did see that. I didn't stop to find out what my fortune was.
You didn't go do that?
Probably should have.
Oh, of course, Greg's here.
Yeah.
Excuse me, all retired.
Yep. Just about. Yeah, I only work a couple hours a month right now, so that's.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I work.
I thought you were more than that.
No, it's a couple hours a month.
But you've been traveling.
Yeah. Before I was Doge, I was working probably 20 hours a month, maybe 30 now.
A month?
Yeah, a month.
Oh, wow.
And now I just work a handful. I'm working for the, believe it or not, I'm working for the state of Minnesota. Everyone knows what's going on in Minnesota, but I'm working on their communications, 911 radio system.
Not under fraud.
All that stuff. What's that?
Not under fraud.
No, believe me, I wish I was getting that kind of money that they're doling out now. But
no, maybe you should open a Leering Center or something.
Yeah, that would be good.
Man.
Yeah.
So, with all the remodeling going on, you're doing a little remodeling around the house.
Yep.
Are you doing any of it personally?
Hardly.
Oh, okay.
Hardly anything. I'll patch
I didn't know if
here
you'd be bored and say, "Okay, I'll do this room."
No, I like patching a few holes and doing a few things like that through there, and everyone touching up paint. But no, we contracted it out.
Smart.
Yeah.
Building a house. What they say, building a house, remodeling a house, causes divorces.
Well, I built one cabin and I added on. I bought a house in Virginia that had about 1,400 square feet down in the basement that was unfinished. I finished that off.
Okay.
So
you put your hands on tools.
Yeah. Yep. I can do just about everything. I don't like reaching into the main electrical panel, but I have done that before. I have done that.
Explains the white hair.
Yeah, there you
go. But you and Nicole still getting along because that is stressful.
Yeah,
well,
it is.
Maybe not, but picking up the colors. Picking out the colors, the doorknobs.
So my wife is the architect.
Right. So you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, but she does not do colors. So
okay,
she tried out 8 different shades of gray. And they all look blue. They all look. Yes, I know. I know. And she thought they all looked blue, so she made me pick the color for the house. So.
Oh
wow.
Yeah. That's a trust thing there, Bill.
Yeah, right.
That's a big trust.
Now we got through the real stressful part of it. When we had to move everything out in the garage because I retiled the floor and repainted, so we had to move almost everything out into the garage.
That's a lot of lifting.
Yes,
a lot of pushing.
Yeah, that was a lot of work. Yeah,
you can see that. I told you my daughter's moving.
Yes,
and she's going to want a lot of lifting. So now that I know you got experience,
I do have a nice hand truck and
some dollies.
Yeah, dollies. Yeah,
I got some furniture dollies. I mean, I when I move stuff, I move it smart. I don't.
Yeah,
I've worked with Marines before on doing stuff, moving stuff. They'll get you hurt. Like I take my time. I'll put it on dollies, carts, and all that. They just grunt and grab and yank. No, we'll get it. Boom. I'm like, slow down, boys.
So
you're gonna kill somebody.
I don't do a lot of that stuff anymore. Once you get on that 70 mark, We don't do as much of that stuff
Well,
anymore.
they're so anxious to help and get involved and got to get it done right now. I mean,
Yeah.
the Marines will go. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone I've worked with, whether
Yeah.
it was, but we tried them for caballeros with traffic control and stuff,
Yeah.
and they're so aggressive.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
Yeah.
it's like they want to grab the car and throw it off to the side. You know?
Yeah. One of my moves, I had another Marine helping me, and we were getting ready to move the washer, which is heavy with all that stuff in it. And so I was going to get the hand cart, and he just bent down, put his arms around the washer, and just picked it up. I mean, he literally lifted it up high and carried it into the house and going, "Where do you want it?" It's like,
yeah, you can. I like to be able to work all day.
Yeah, but anyway,
that's fun though. I saw the mayor this weekend. You say he's got a meet and greet tonight?
Yeah. So Doug Nichols has
he didn't invite me.
He's got a meet and greet at Lutz tonight at 5:30.
And the reason is he's running again, and he's such a great mayor. He's done such a great job. He's very very visible, very accessible, getting a lot of things done. I talked to him, and right now he's running unopposed.
Yeah. So far he is. Yeah.
Yeah. The big challenge right now is signatures.
I was thinking about doing this write-in or something.
Yeah.
Getting those.
Write-in can never win, but
Yeah.
at least it might annoy him.
Yeah, they went from 400 signatures to 1,000.
Why?
Well, because we did such a good job turning out the vote last time.
Oh, that's why Greg's mad at you.
Yeah. No, but and part of it is too, the city switched their elections from off year. And so the last one was actually in I guess in a presidential year. So the number of people voting went up, where they used to have
presidential.
Yeah. When they had a election in the off years, and the state threatened them and all this other kind of crap.
They did.
If I was there, I would have fought to keep it the same, because what happens is there's a thing called ballot fatigue, and that people will start at the beginning of the ballot and vote, and by the time they get to the end, they're just like, well, I don't care, I'm not. They don't fill them in.
That's where they put the judges.
Yeah. Yeah. And
people don't understand the judges because.
Yep, I know. Well, and there's just so many that people, when they have a multiple page ballot, people kind of lose their whatever, and they all want to vote for president.
Well, that's top ticket.
And senator and stuff like that, and then it just kind of goes down. Yeah,
it's all the way down to dog catcher, and
Yep, exactly. And so they call it ballot fatigue, that people tend to not fill.
We put so much on the ballot that's important, particularly the voter referendums, which could be dangerous.
And there's going to be some dangerous ones on this one too. Yeah, there are. I think there's going to be some sort of initiative to scale back ESA, which, of course, Arizona is the model, I guess, for ESA in the country. And of course, the Democrats don't like that. They want to get rid of it.
They want to get rid of school only.
Yeah, let's only have failed schools on the menu for our children.
So how are they framing it? ESA is unchecked, out of control, costing too much, bankruptcy,
too much fraud.
They say tons of crazy stuff.
And of course the fraud is, I think it's like 1% or something, and then you go back and recover it. But in our public schools, the fraud is much higher.
Right.
Than that. It's like 6 times higher or something like that. 6%.
Well, and they hit the paper once in a while with these guys that have gotten out of control in public schools. Public schools spend a lot of money on overhead.
They
just
do.
A ton.
Yeah.
It's not that they have a choice. A lot of it's mandated, but
but the thing that I understand a little bit of it, because my dad was a principal, and I've family of teachers and stuff, but they've just gone so far to this superintendent, associate superintendent, and they'll have half a dozen associate superintendents, and
lots of layers of admin.
And
when your dad was there, they didn't have all that.
No, just one superintendent.
Right?
One superintendent and a principal, and if there was a larger school, they had an assistant principal, and now that's the way it was. And there wasn't really a need to do all that. Of course, now they'll say there's a need, but I think they've gone too far.
Yeah.
Well, and part of it, I think part of it is they want to raise the position and raise the salary so everybody can compete for good people. But if you didn't have so many positions, of course, then everybody would have a good person.
And the salaries are really good in those positions. Those are
For administrators, they are, yes.
Yeah.
For teachers, not so much. But
Right.
Administrators, yes. And and that's what's happening, and that's why the teachers unions are so upset about it, because teachers' salaries have not kept pace with
administrators'
yeah.
raises.
And a lot of the districts will do, like, when they give pay raises, they go 3% across the board. Well, 3% of a superintendent's salary is way more than 3% of a teacher's salary. And so over the years, the superintendent's salaries have grown and grown and grown. And, and the separation between teacher salaries and superintendent salaries now is pretty significant. So
And there's more of them.
Yes. Yes. So,
well, and ESA, which they don't like and want to get rid of, is such a bargain for taxpayers. It's half the price.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's a significant savings.
Yeah. And they keep saying it's bankrupting us. They look at it like it's extra money versus the same student.
A lot of times the schools will think that's our money.
Right.
We could have that money if they didn't have it. And that's, of course, that's not the way it works. But I do like the idea that you set aside a certain amount of money per child, and then that money follows the child towards whatever school, whatever they have. And that then would help incentivize performance, because every parent wants their child in a school that is super performing. And, there are great public schools, and then there's great ESA programs in private schools, and then there's bad public schools, and there are some bad charter schools and stuff
Probably.
too. Yeah.
But they tend to go away.
Yes.
But the public schools can be bad, and they're going to last.
Stick around.
They're going to stay there.
Right. Yeah, and that's one of the things that does have to be fixed. I mean, there is you can look at schools and say, yeah, there's too much paperwork, and that's why we need all these other people. But then they have positions that basically are in charge of keep taking care of federal grants and state grants and stuff like that. So I think the associate superintendents or assistant superintendents, the numbers have gotten out of control.
Yeah.
What's the same like at the hospital? The number of VPs the hospital has.
Do they have a lot more?
Top heavy, very top heavy.
Yes. Yeah. It's
well, you need them.
Yeah. Well, you can't throw a stone without hitting the VP. You can't throw a stone without hitting the associate superintendent.
I'm going to be in the hospital on Friday, so be nice.
Be nice.
Be nice to the hospital. Yeah. Department of War is looking at the next generation nuclear energy.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know Trump is working in 50 different. I mean, he's all over the place, which is good. We need him. He doesn't personally do it all. He just directs it. But nuclear is a big push. But to push nuclear, it takes 20 years to build a nuclear plant from ground up.
That was pre-Trump.
Yeah.
Pre-Trump. Okay. Well, they just finished the newest ones are in Georgia, where they opened up 2 years ago.
Right.
Which was unusual because there had been 20 years before that were better than we ever had a nuclear power plant built.
Yeah. But they're going to reopen like 3 Mile Island and all those ones. And they're working on that's probably what your thing is. They're working on these small package.
Well, that's what they're doing right now. In fact, this shows a next generation nuclear reactor aboard a C-17. They just throw it on an airplane. And it flew from California to Utah, so they could test it at the Utah San Rafael Energy Lab, and they're testing evaluation. That doesn't say where they got this thing. Now, I understand they've had these overseas now for a while.
Right.
Well, I don't think we've got one active in the United States. Maybe this is the first one.
There's some in testing, and I know there's one, I believe, Army base on the East Coast that is talking about putting in their own nuclear power plant. and I don't remember which base it was.
We have experience. I mean,
Yeah.
subs, aircraft carriers, they all have these small nukes.
Yes. There's no
They've had
reason
them for a long time.
The only reason why we haven't had them is because
Regulation.
regulations and politics and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have visited the one here in Phoenix, and that operation is totally different. I mean, it's tons of manpower, a lot of people. It's massive, and it puts out, of course, infinitely more energy than these small ones.
Right.
And I know that's what people think about when they think of nuclear. They think of something massive, and something like Fukushima or 3 Mile Island or
Well, it's interesting.
Blow up,
It's really interesting because Palo Verde is basically all analog. It's got all switches and buttons. It's not digital at all. They wanted to keep, keep it, I guess, in that era where they wouldn't have software problems and those types of things, because that's what was built in the early generations of software, where you'd have software glitches and this and that. So, I mean, literally, they have hard switches, toggle switches, and push buttons, and all that stuff, because it's still Palo Verde is analog.
I went in there, as immediately they invited me in, which was a great experience just to go. I went inside the reactor because they were changing out the rods. It was time to refuel it.
Yes, I got to go inside too. They did it,
and it was amazing. And they have 3 of them, so they do one of them every few years.
Right.
One of them gets redone. So if you ever get that opportunity, take it, and you wear a white suit, and you have a little badge that shows whether or not you're getting. And I never really, mine didn't change color at all. It wasn't in there long.
Well, what's interesting about that is their reactors are so shielded that, even when you're in there looking down on the rods in the water, which water insulates radiation the most, that when you're inside the reactor, you're getting less natural radiation than if you would stay outside.
What was that? Right?
Yeah. So by going in the reactor, you're shielding your body from solar radiation and all that other stuff.
I was surprised about how massive it is. I mean, just the bolts that hold it together, it would take a couple guys to pick them up. But I mean, everything is just amazingly large.
Yeah.
And it's up and down stairs all over the place. I mean, it's really, really huge. When I actually saw the rods, it surprised me that we could look at them, because in cartoons, if you looked at a rod, you'd turn to dust.
Yes.
That's all I know from the cartoons.
And what's cool, of course, the water is so purified, it's just absolutely crystal clear. And you're looking through the water at the rods sitting there, and they're like, I'm exaggerating, they're not right in your face, but they're like, 15, 20 yards away from you at the bottom of the pool of water.
Walking through that, talking to a lot of the staff, and we took tours of the whole building, the control them. You just feel very secure. I mean, these guys are professionals. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's no sloppiness. They were safety was number one, number two, I mean, everything was safety. And in fact, they acted more rapidly with safety.
Yeah.
And they got things done.
Yeah, and the security isn't like a bunch of fat guys running around. They're all former Navy SEALs and special forces and stuff.
A lot of them you didn't see. Now, and they told us as a group, they said, look, don't ever run.
Yeah.
So what do you mean don't run? So when you see those guys, you see that tower up there with that shielded area, that's a sniper.
Yep.
He will shoot you. And we don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Man, you guys are secure. Yeah. So I didn't run.
Yeah.
I didn't test the system.
Yeah. Anna Chalk gave us our tour. She, local, I guess, what do you call them?
Public relations.
Yeah. But she worked here at KYMA and the TV stations here.
No, she brought me on the tour too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she worked for APS there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She's still there.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, she's still at APS?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's gotten promoted a couple times. She's doing really well.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Yeah.
And I learned a ton about it. I had great respect for it. But these small nukes are something totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
small modular reactors.
And they're gonna fuel them, bring them to you, and you don't really have to tinker with it. It's kind of like the stuff on the submarines and and on the aircraft carriers and stuff.
Yeah.
And when it's time to refuel it, they kind of it's a big deal. They kind of take it out and bring you a new one or something.
Yeah. They're pretty amazing. They're not water cooled or anything like that.
Which is what the problems were with 3 Mile Island and Fukushima and stuff, is that they're water cooled. And if something happens, the water gets turned off. There's nothing to cool it.
Yeah.
And
not enough water pressure and that kind of thing.
No, and you start having problems.
Yeah.
Things start flying apart, a lot of heat, a lot of stuff going on.
Well, they say they're 90% smaller. They use 50% less concrete than a regular reactor. And they can be built in 12 to 24 months.
Well, they're so much smaller that they put them on an airplane, take it to your but you could have, rather than having one Palo Verde that covers states, you have one that covers a city.
Yeah.
And
or a factory.
Put them around a factory or an AI data area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm surprised to see one so quickly.
Well, I think that I believe it's all regulation that's holding them back. I think the technology is there.
Well, they have them in other countries, I understand, but I don't know how much. Something else he's doing is he's going after a beautiful coal.
Yeah.
To expand it, open it, put more
clean, beautiful coal.
Clean, beautiful coal.
Yeah. Get it right, Russ.
Sorry.
You'll get a call from the White House here.
Halfway there. But they're serious about it, and I didn't realize they have more permits for coal. But what about the plants? They've already closed a lot of plants.
Well, that's what I was thinking that when they closed the coal plant, they could drop in a nuclear plant because infrastructure is already there. But I mean, all they have to do is retrofit, with the scrubbers, to change to make.
We closed a lot of the ones that had scrubbers in them, like the one in Arizona here.
Yeah,
it wasn't that long ago before they closed it that they put the scrubbers, updated them.
Yeah, well, I know, and maybe that one will reopen. I know the tribe was really upset when that closed down because that has a lot of tribal jobs up there in the northwest.
They also had a lot of tribal jobs they were mining their own coal and running the plant.
Yeah.
And that thing all shut down. I don't know when they shut it down. Do they just leave it in mothballs or do they destroy it?
I don't know. I guess it depends.
Yeah. But we were so quick to get away from coal because of global warming.
Yeah.
And climate change, whatever it is, which more and more people are recognizing it's a lie.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially when they started saying, "Oh, we got to start regulating CO2," and that's what are they going to make me like hold my breath, hold my breath for
no passing gas?
Yeah,
some people I wouldn't mind them holding their breath for long periods. But our friend Edward did a thesis or doctoral, whatever, paper on the data that's collected for the climate change, the 1,504 stations. We went to every one of them.
Wow.
Well, some of them in the Arctic, the Antarctic. I mean, he took pictures of every single one.
Yeah.
And then he had Elon make almost 500 stations to duplicate the ones that were heavily compromised because of concrete and industrial areas, and they were not getting good readings. So he said he built some that were legal according to their own rules. Like it has to be so far away from the building, so far out.
Right.
So they built 500 of them that are solar powered.
Okay.
And stuck them out there so that they could find out what the difference were between, sometimes they were close to each other, not very far away, but they were like 3 degrees difference in readings.
Okay.
Because they had them over air conditioning vents. They had them over all kinds of stuff, and they were just getting bad readings.
Yeah.
So he said in the last decade, according to their data, we've actually cooled.
Yeah. Well, do you remember when I brought in that chart over the last, whatever it is, 200 million years and show you that we're actually in a cooling period,
right?
Not a warming period.
Because if you expand the chart versus what they just want us to see.
exactly. Yeah, and it's the same thing. Like they had that another PM10 hearing, which is air pollutant here, and it's such a joke.
It is.
It's like, okay, when you're in Yuma, Arizona, when it gets windy, there's more particulate in the air. Well, duh, we live in the desert. Come on,
and they fine us for that.
Yeah,
because we have dirt in the air,
and it restricts what you can have for like manufacturing and those kind of things. And we actually got to an attainment period, and they were supposed to take in the monitors, and then they didn't take in the monitors. We had a big storm after we had made attainment.
Yeah,
and so then one of them popped up a high reading, and so they said, "Oh no, 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 no! Now you got to go back again." It's like, wait a minute, and so it's such a joke. I mean, they're just a joke.
We get those, what they call them, haboobs or something, every once in a while, where just you can't even see.
Right.
And it's not often, but it happens.
Yep.
It doesn't originate here. It's not because we had, one too many plants manufacturing.
Right.
And they blow in, and all of a sudden, we're to blame for our own deals. And it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they don't happen that often where it's that extreme.
No.
But when it does, you better get out of it.
But that's one of the things that Trump could do with the EPA is get rid of this scam PM10 and
when they do any kind of scientific measurements, they will throw out those arbitrary ones that are too high, too low. They'll throw them out and to get real averages and stuff. And some reason they didn't want to do that on the PM10.
Yeah,
it was a different way.
Yeah, and all PM10 is 10 micron sized particles in the air. And they have several layers. PM10 is the one that they wanted us to attain. And of course, when you're in a dusty, sandy environment, you have more particulate that's over 10 microns. But I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah, and I know they check how many per whatever.
Right.
It's the number of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a break. When we get back, I want to talk about the governor's race. It looks like we've had some changes. We'll be right back. AM 560.
Forecast for today, partly cloudy skies, 73, winds increasing later to 20 mile per hour gusts. Partly cloudy, breezy tonight, slight chance of rain, 53. 73, partly cloudy tomorrow, clear and 49 tomorrow night.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
To be a part of Russ's show, call 928-344-5258. That's 928-344-5258.
March 6th, 7th, and 8th will be a weekend full of food, entertainment, and hundreds of classic cars and trucks. It's Midnight at the Oasis, but how about a free warm-up with the rally on Main Street? Thursday evening, March 5th, from 6 to 8. It's a preview of Midnight at the Oasis. The rally on Main Street is in downtown Yuma and features classic cars and trucks on display along with music from the Chavez Family Band. And it's free for the entire family. Thursday evening, March 5th, from 6 to 8. It's the rally on Main Street in downtown Yuma. Another Caballeros signature event.
We're comfort experts, people you can trust, ask our customers. That's why they count on us. Over 50 years of service, keep us going strong. We've got a name you can depend upon. Hamburger, refrigeration, and electric Hamburger, count on us.
This is as real as it gets. Get up, get kids up, feed the dog, feed the kids, out the door, work, pick up kids, dinner, bath, bed, repeat. You strive all day to make life better for them. So why not make life better for you? Get strive-free checking at Avenir Financial. No frills, no fuss, no monthly fee. Open a strive-free checking today at avenirfinancial.org. Certain restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Are you a fraud-paying American? 1 in 4 tax-paying Americans have been victim of identity fraud. With LifeLock, your identity, if it's stolen, they fix it guaranteed or your money back. And last year, billions in refunds were stolen. Could be from your salary, overtime, or second job. Gone. But this year, you don't need to stay a victim. Because this tax season, fraud-paying American is something no American should have to claim. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. Visit lifelock.com. Terms do apply.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me. He'll drain that swamp, just like you say.
Hey, I'm 60 KPW. Russ with you. Greg Wilkinson's here.
Yep. Morning.
So Bill here.
Good
morning. Yeah, good morning. The yeah, you were going to mention the restaurant, and I'll get to the governor race in a little bit. But the restaurant, they had a big raid.
Yeah.
It was like 15 restaurants under a single chain up in Phoenix, but
it wasn't quite that many, but yeah, it was. So I went to this restaurant and ate there, and I liked the restaurant, and they were raided right after I had been there.
But will you have anything to do with it?
I did not.
Okay.
Although I probably would have called them if had I known. And so I just actually ate there, wife and I, and the son ate there again on Friday because they had opened back up after shutting down. And it turns out that this restaurant lost their entire kitchen staff because, and get this, some of the kitchen staff were not being paid.
Oh, not being paid.
Not being paid. And you know what that means? In 2026, slavery is alive and well in Arizona, thanks to the Biden administration and the open.
I'm shocked that
human trafficking. Yeah. So what happened was some of them were, no, not all, but some of them were not being paid. And so for solidarity, so the entire kitchen staff walked out.
Wow.
Yeah. But there were more than a handful that were arrested, and they were either not being paid, paying paid lesser amounts of money than they should have been, less than minimum wage. And, obviously human trafficking. So this restaurant chain was involved in human trafficking to get people for the kitchen. And, and they came in and took them out. So, yeah, once again, the open borders Democrats have brought slavery back to our country. And, when you talk human trafficking, people really don't understand that there's adults that are being held basically captive. You can stay in this country and all that kind of stuff, but don't say anything illegal because you'll be deported, and you just work for us for nothing. I'm sure they gave them a place to stay and that kind of thing.
Sure.
But they weren't, they didn't have the option
but
to
something
leave.
like that usually involves a cartel, doesn't it?
Well, that's what's interesting to me when I learned about this is, I don't think the drug cartel was involved in that, but it got a lot bigger. When you let 20-25 million people in the country, and they're smuggled in. We heard when you think about human trafficking stuff, you think they're smuggling women in and turning them into prostitutes and all that kind of stuff, which exists. But, in this case, they were still made to be slaves and work in the kitchen, for these restaurants.
I know in the past, and I've talked to Border Patrol over the years, that these cartels will have control of their family down in Mexico.
Right.
And there's an extortion going on. Like,
yes.
Your family's safe as long as you're working for us.
Mm-hmm. Or, where they have to pay, I don't know, $10,000 to be trafficked across the border. And if they don't have the money, it's like, well, that's okay, because when you get here, you just go to this place and you work for us for 10 years to pay off your debt. And of course, then maybe they never release them. But yeah. And if they're alive at the end of 10 years, whatever it is, but that's kind of indentured servitude.
Yeah.
Where you have to work till you pay off your debt.
But that's what that whole thing was about. I know it.
Right.
And they had Homeland Security shut down all the restaurants at the same time. And my understanding is for them to do that, to get those warrants to do that simultaneously, showed they had a lot of evidence. There was a lot of
Oh yeah.
the judges don't do that lightly. That's
Yeah.
like
It was
a
100%.
big deal.
Yep. They had, and I think it's closer to six restaurants in the metro area here in Arizona, and they shut them down. They raided them all, took everything, and people are going to jail, and hopefully those people will be set free, probably sent back to their country that they came from, but they're no longer slaves.
Well, they did the same thing here with the massage parlors. It was basically the same thing.
They shut those down. I didn't hear a lot of that noise about who they arrested or how many. Didn't get much at all.
Well, you don't. That's because it looks bad on the Democrat Party for the open borders. That's why you don't hear anything about it.
Okay.
The media is so one-sided. I mean, like with the Nancy Guthrie thing, I mean, everybody feels for the family and stuff like that. But people are kidnapped, all the time. And the media is just blowing this into a huge thing. And
there's a lot of people on that Guthrie thing that's talking to a lot of investigators, a lot of people experience are saying it doesn't really look like a kidnapping.
Yeah, it's hard to say. And Sheriff Ennis, whatever his name is, he hasn't done a great job.
I haven't had much confidence.
No, and I did talk to some people I know in law enforcement in Pima, and they didn't have much confidence in him anyway. But this is kind of, and then press conferences were fairly terrible. That's being lenient. Fairly terrible.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah, and that's why he hasn't had any more press conferences, which has made this search situation worse, because then you rely on rumors flying all over the place because you don't have any facts or information, and so the whole thing with it is kind of, I feel it real bad for the family, and I hope she's recovered and stuff.
But when they do release stuff, all of a sudden we get when they do release stuff, then we get pictures of guys taking out the cameras and stuff. I mean, this was not just an inside job. I mean, there was somebody. Yeah. Well, they might have been a relative, who knows?
Well, that should be a message for everybody who has cameras. We have cameras, is that they're never off.
No,
because she didn't have an active subscription. It was disconnected, all this kind of stuff, and they still got video out of it. So they're never off. And what I found out is they're actually still collecting the data. They just don't have it out there for you to look at. So the cameras are still collect data no matter what state.
My understanding was that it's in a loop because they're not really collecting the live data, but they had some data that shows it was active.
Right.
But it's in a loop. And the fact that they came in and broke the camera made the loop stop, so it didn't erase over the video that was released.
I hadn't heard that.
So that guy was his own enemy, and that when he destroyed it, the loop stopped.
Yeah.
And it locked it in to where that video was recoverable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had not heard.
He had a Walmart backpack on, so it wasn't a high dollar heist.
Yeah, I heard all his clothes and gloves and everything were probably purchased at Walmart.
Yeah, it's probably. Robeson dropped out.
Yeah.
Or not dropped out, suspended. I mean, that means she could always reactivate. I guess I'm totally confused.
Well, I think she saw what the polls were. And
polls out her number 2.
Yeah. And, the Republican Party doesn't need a long, expensive primary, especially when it's not going to say certain, but it's fairly likely that you're going to lose and spend a bunch of money.
She's already been that route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it was bad for the party.
Yep.
And then afterwards, it was bitterness, and that bitterness translated to us losing the governor.
Right. And that's, I think, So I give Robeson a lot of credit for having class to really do the right thing.
Which that puts Andy Biggs in the driver's seat. He was already number one.
Yes.
But with Robeson is a powerhouse, and she was not small in the number of people that we're going to go after. But if anything, that kind of scuttles Schwaggart. Schwaggart was looking for the two.
Yeah. Well, he didn't really stand much of a chance. I don't really understand why he got in.
Yeah, he or Scott Neely.
Yeah. I don't understand why they got in.
Well,
they need to drop out now.
A lot of times they do that just to get their names out there.
Yeah.
But Schwaggart didn't really need it. He's already a congressman.
Yeah.
Why is he doing that?
Yeah. Well, if they stay in it, they're just going to tick people off. And if they want to run for Congress again, it might hurt them. So the longer they stay in now, the more it's going to hurt them. So they both Neely and Schweikert need to drop out.
Now, here's the things that was written about Andy Biggs a lot was that he was probably going to win the governorship from Robeson, but he doesn't have the appeal with the independents because he's too radical right, and Robeson could have been more middle ground. I don't know if I believe all that, but that's some of the opinions pieces I read.
Yeah, well, only time will tell. I mean, Robeson's under investigation for pay to play, and to me, what it looks like on the surface is it's pretty substantial that she basically granted this company higher rates than everybody else, and then she got 400,000 campaign contribution or something like that, some thousands of dollars campaign contribution right after. So,
that's just
it doesn't. Well, even the attorney general, of course, who's a Democrat, is doing part of the investigation against her.
How does she have time? She's been suing Trump every day.
Yeah, well, those die out pretty fast. So those don't go very far. So it doesn't really take that much time to get your butt kicked.
But she's very proud of the fact that she's making America safer by suing Trump.
Yeah,
it just annoys me.
Yeah, and of course she hasn't won a case, but
of course not.
Of course,
of course not.
Yeah.
But Biggs looks like the last man standing of any stature.
Yeah,
that's Republican.
Yeah, and I think he will do better with independents because when independents, most of them, look at what's going on and what's better for them and what's better for the state. And any independent that looks at it right now is like, well, the economy's going pretty good. We got all these good things. I don't want a governor that spends over her budget. Want somebody that's going to, stay in the lines and not blow our deficit out of proportion. What they're having to deal with now. So I think the independents will look at Andy Biggs, and he does a pretty good job speaking.
He does.
He's got a lot of good experience. So I think the independents will come around. And I believe they probably have some of the attitude is like, I don't want more of what's been going on lately.
I think he'll focus on targeting them much more now, for sure. And I agree with Greg. I think he's going to win over a lot of them.
Yeah, and I'm hoping QTR Robeson endorses Biggs. Yeah, and I hope Schweikert and Neely do the same thing, and that pulls the whole base together. From center to right, and then he can focus on the independents.
We're going to need that.
Well, they sure didn't do that the last time with Kerry Lake.
No.
And that was just such a disaster
It
for us.
Yeah.
That's how we end up with the governor we've got is
right.
Kerry Lake won the primary. There was so much bitterness that and Kerry brought some on herself when
she did.
She attacked John McCain for what reason?
Yeah.
And that just threw a lot of money to anti-Kerry.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. And she made some mistakes.
Yeah.
And it hurt her bad, and she should have sat out for another couple of years.
And how much better would we have been with Kerry Lake over
what
we've got? Would have been huge difference.
Yeah.
A huge difference. But people get butthurt, they get short-sighted, and they care more about their feelings immediately versus looking at the next 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, human nature.
Yes, it is.
DHS shut down. Are we in trouble, Greg?
Well, I don't know. I used to work for DHS. I got doged, and
You got
so
doged?
I got doged at DHS, but I actually was just to recap. I know I said this before, but I was fine with it because I supported going after all the fraud. Even though I lost my job, but
Your job wasn't fraud, though.
No, my job was not fraud. In fact,
But you saw a lot of
good
things
stuff.
that were unsavory.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, within the system, not just the fraud, but within the system itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of Biden appointees.
Yeah. But of course, you're talking about something different now. You're talking about Democrat shutdown again. Another one. And so.
And I don't think people are going to feel it as much. They can't feel as much because it shuts down a smaller portion of the government. And really, the people feel is TSA, Coast Guard, and FEMA.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't like FEMA anyway,
Well, there you go.
Trump wants to close FEMA, which of course he can't without congressional improvement, whatever. And just give it back to the states and give state support when there's a disaster.
Right. Have a pot of money to hand out to them.
Yeah.
But people are going to be really upset if they say, "Well, TSA, we can't pay TSA." Well, okay, we can't fly. They shut down airports and airlines.
That's a big deal.
Yeah,
and it could happen.
Well, I would not want to fly without TSA in place now, because if TSA is not there, then who's going to keep all the stuff off? Keep all that stuff off the airplane that we don't want on airplanes. It goes boom.
Yeah. So, Chuck Schumer says that he wants change in ICE. ICE is, I mean, the Democrats have been anti-police for a long time.
Yeah.
They've been anti-ICE now since Trump took over. I mean, they weren't anti-ICE under Biden. But Biden basically neutered ICE.
Or Obama. Obama deported more people than Trump has so far.
I think it's so funny that he gave a medal to Tom Homan.
Yes.
for eliminating 400,000 illegals or something, helping deport 400,000 illegals.
Right.
I don't know if he can get that medal back, but the press doesn't cover that a lot. That Tom Homan was given a medal by Obama for doing his job.
Yeah.
Now they throw tomatoes at him.
Yeah, you only see that on Fox. Although, he went into Minnesota, and not that anything really bad was happening in Minnesota, but it just got out of control with all these paid protesters.
Yeah.
Which I did find out. So to be a protester, you get paid $20 an hour if you stand there with a sign.
Okay.
You get paid $50 an hour if you stand there with a sign and you're an agitator, and so you're screaming and that kind of stuff. That's $50 an hour. And then if you have to be in like super cold weather, then it's $100 an hour. And I don't know.
So what did you sign up for? I mean, you're unemployed. You could use the money.
There you go. Yeah.
I think you should go for the 100.
Yeah, exactly. Go to Minnesota to minus 30 degrees.
Get yourself a whistle.
Yeah. Anyway, so I watched the podcast about, protesters that had said how much money they got for.
That's your hometown, though. It's got to break your heart to see it.
Wow. Yeah, I'm from Red Wing, and all the, and there's all kinds of stuff coming out now. It's like Minnesota people are saying, Minneapolis is Minneapolis. The rest of Minnesota is not Minneapolis. But they're all paid. They're coming in on buses, and I'm not going to say all, but many of them. I mean, even the one lady that was killed was not from Minnesota. I mean,
but they say she moved there. She moved there.
Yeah.
Did she have a house or a hotel?
I don't know.
They don't know. They don't do any research.
Yeah, her partner. They don't want to go too far in that.
They moved out of Canada to come to Minneapolis.
Yeah. But, and that's the heart, and what happened when the Somalis were relocated here, that they, and I've talked about this before, is Somalis are tribal, and there's three main tribes, and the one tribe that AOC belongs to, and the mayor in Minneapolis that Somali tribes associated with them. The mayor of Minneapolis' wife is an attorney that works for that one organization that had all the fraud. And, so what happened is the tribal chiefs called people to move into the metro area so they could get somebody, elected and start to change things that are going on and do the fraud and all those things. Yeah, the tribal chiefs called them in. And so people literally moved from my town up to Minneapolis, St. Paul. And so the Somalis that had been relocated in Red Wing, for the most part, moved to Minneapolis, St. Paul. And they're located in basically cluster areas. And that's how they get Omar, AOC, not AOC, it was Omar, how they get Omar, and they get Mayor Fry and all that stuff. And the other mayor that ran against Fry, who was also Somali, but he was not from the majority tribe. He was in one of the minor tribes. And so he didn't draw, the one tribe that had most of the people there.
Yeah,
so
they're
he
all
didn't get
clan.
elected. Yeah, exactly. And that's how he lost the election.
Well, Schumer is saying that he's got a list of 10 proposed reforms before he opens up the government, which is just ridiculous. Now, and the ridiculous part is, there's always this finger pointing on whose fault it is that you shut down. Well, he comes out and says, well, we'll reopen it if you give me these 10 things. Well, he's putting a target on him. I shut it down.
Right. Well, and I think Schumer's got to go. Maxine Waters got to go, but I think those people just need to go because we want people. Fetterman obviously is a Democrat, but a lot of people are looking at him. It's like that's what we want. We want like a Harold Ford Jr., Fetterman in office that can work with people.
Yeah, still has some bad ideas, but at least talks truth and sense.
Right. And I know there's some people on the right that are stuck in it, but we need our government to function as
we got to have people vote these people in. We got to have voters out there.
Yeah,
the non-paid voters. I mean,
right.
just
Yeah.
The other thing you're talking about Minnesota, I'll go back to that for a minute. So what people don't understand that in most states you have voter registration and all this other kind of stuff. Well, in Minnesota, to vote, literally you can walk into the polls and you can take 8 people with you and you can vouch for those 8 people, and neither you nor those 8 people have to have an ID. The person walks in and said, oh, this is so-and-so and this is so-and-so, and names all off, and all of them can vote.
Well, yeah.
And then they can go away. They go to another poll and change their names and they can vote again.
They can register and vote that day. Register and vote.
Yes.
They don't even have to be registered. Just walk in, say, I'm a voter, and this guy's he's going to vouch for me.
Yeah. You don't have to have like a bill. You don't have to have no ID, nothing.
Because nobody's going to lie.
Right. And that's what's going on. And that's how people like Omar and Fry and stuff get elected, because it's one, they said no widespread fraud. Well, I'm not 100% is exaggerating, but it's 100% fraud in Minnesota. And that affects the other states. When you get these people elected that, never got to vote. I mean, it's so crazy.
Some of the things that Chuck Schumer wants to open up the government is that ICE agents have to obtain a judicial warrant. Now that sounds good on the surface. Well, doesn't everybody have a warrant? Yeah, they have an executive warrant. They have
administrative warrant.
Administrative warrant, which same as a police officer. Police officer doesn't need a judicial warrant to arrest somebody.
Right.
They see somebody break the law, they can put the cuffs on. Well, they're saying that ICE can't do that.
Well, the other thing behind the administrative warrant is that most of those people already have a court order to be removed.
Right.
They just never left.
Right.
And so, which there's like 1.4 million, I guess, in the U.S.
Yeah. From the overstayed visas, some that have criminal records, and they just get released by these sanctuary states. The other thing he wants is to take away their ability to wear face coverings, because he wants them doxxed. Now, they're not asking that for any police force. They're saying just ICE.
Right, just ICE. And they wear their placards on their chest.
They do.
There's no reason.
They wear identification. Yeah. They dare. They do. But Chuck says Americans are tired of masked agents conducting warrantless operations in their communities. Secret police. They're tired of chaos, secrecy, and zero count.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
We still have hope. And we still believe.
Looking for whoever kidnapped Nancy Guthrie. Fox's Matt Finn reports from Tucson, Arizona. In that horrifying NASCAR video, you can see the masked suspect wearing gloves, and now officials are saying they possibly have a match to one of those gloves. It was found about 2 miles from Nancy's home where I am right now. The DNA profile listed from the glove will be added to the CODIS national database for comparison. We could get results too if it is a masked glove. Homeland Security still has no funding, and with Congress recess, it won't have it until at least next week. So, essential workers with Coast Guard, TSA Airport Security have to stay on the job and make us paychecks. As Democrats hold up DHS funding, demanding immigration enforcement reform, including unmasking agents. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries told CBS Face the Nation.
Why is it that ICE agents who are untrained are being unleashed on American communities with this type of lawlessness, violence, and brutality?
Reporters are come home and point to an 8,000% increase in death threats against ICE officers as the reason for the mask. Homan also says the shutdown has not impacted immigration enforcement across the country because ICE and CBP are fully funded through the One Big Beautiful Bill. Some Republicans have passed Democrat objections to DHS funding as political theater.
Fox's Manuel Rivera, new U.S.-Iran talks scheduled tomorrow. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says
it's a complicated thing. No one's ever been able to do a successful deal with Iran. We're going to try.
President Trump has threatened attacking Iran again like last year if Iran doesn't scale back its nuclear program. America's listening to Fox News.
Following the attack on 9/11, FDNY firefighter Daniel Foley assisted in the rescue and recovery efforts at Ground Zero. Daniel spent months and months searching for victims. Daniel's death was the direct result of 9/11 related cancer. He leaves behind his wife, Carrie, and their children. Tunnel to Towers pays the mortgage on the family's home. Join us. Donate $11 a month to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get it in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I am grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Spokesperson. Transfer application to vary. Online help questions.
From the New Zealand Information Desk, I'm Madeline Miller. The kids are full of Yuma hosted their 7th annual No Exceptions 2026 concert. The event included performances from local band Downtime, the Blood Sisters, and any of the mainline band departments. There was also local food and drink vendors for the community to enjoy in the Kids Zone. Proceeds from the event will go towards supporting over 70 kids at Hope School by providing training, resources, and materials. Hopwalk cruised into Country Road's Albee Village for the 16th annual Summer Bash Car Show. Over 100 participants parked their motorized pieces of art to put on display for all to see. The show was presented by Nostalgia Park Road Yuma to put a group of judges together to decide winners for 9 different categories. On top of the contest, all proceeds from the event are donated to local charities. Catch us on the TV side on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
At Hospice in Yuma, we believe that everyone deserves compassionate care, especially when it matters most. As the area's only nonprofit hospice, our mission is simple: to provide high-quality, compassionate care to all who need it, regardless of their ability to pay. Our team of skilled professionals and dedicated volunteers work tirelessly to ensure that your loved ones receive the care and support they deserve. We focus on comfort and dignity, helping families navigate this difficult time with grace and understanding. Choose Hospice of Yuma for quality care that puts you and your family first. For more information, please contact us at 928-343-2222.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me. He'll drain that old swamp, just like he said.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you, and it's 7:05. Greg Wilkinson stayed with me, which is nice.
Good morning.
I appreciate you coming in because when you come in, I know my wife's listening.
Yeah. Anything I can do to help support your marriage.
Yeah. It's really nice. You know, I say, oh, Greg's kid's coming in tomorrow morning. She says, "Oh, good. I'll get up."
Well, I don't come in for you. I just come in for Helen.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, and Gene Dalby came by, of course, to talk about Tour de Fields.
Absolutely.
Get close to that mic. How are you doing?
Closer to how am I? Boy, that's a dangerous
Other
question.
than we were talking off air, you know, you're talking about 83. 83 is good when you make it. That's good.
Yeah, 84 is coming up, so I'm looking forward to it.
And you're still riding a bike?
Oh, once in a while. Not as often, but yes. You know, it's harder to get up and get going.
We need to get you an electric one.
Electric one. You know, I'm still, I don't want to set an example that's not good for the health of the people out there. My concern is that people, as in my case, for example, old, have been on my bike for a good number of years. I think it contributes to my longevity. And, you know, but I've had a break and I've had some illnesses. I've been down for some period of time. And lost my strength and stamina. And then I get on an electric bike. Whoa, I got this power. I got this get up and go, you know, and wait a minute now, you know, turning and meeting the traffic situation and all these other kind of things. It gets a little more dangerous. And the bike's heavy.
It could be. It's heavier.
The bike's heavy. It's not as light as the other bikes, you know. And so I'm not too. I will work on an electric bike rarely.
Okay.
But I love the old real traditional bike.
My bike's 80 pounds.
Yeah, you know, that's half my weight. What am I supposed to say? You know,
if I didn't have it, I wouldn't ride it as much. I ride it because I can really go places. I still pedal. I still work it.
Yeah.
I still do. But instead of going 5 miles an hour, I'm going 25.
That's good for you, you know, and I think that you know, that I think there's people who are eligible for bikes, the e-bikes, but I think there's a large majority of them that rode when they were 10, you know, and haven't done any ride seriously and maybe not so sharp on the physical condition. And all of a sudden they say, oh, hey, $1,000 bike, I can get in there and do it. And does it, and shazam. It's,
you can get some speed up on.
Yeah,
You know,
when you come to a wall or a car or something, that's a pretty tough hit, you know.
I've some people have asked me. I have two of them. And some people have asked me, like, well, I've always wanted to ride one. And I said, well, where do you want me to meet you? I'll meet you over at West Wetlands, and I've got an extra bike. But to have them transition from a regular bike to an e-bike is totally different.
It is.
And I really talk to them a lot about getting on and off the bike. You should just throw a bike around and all that. This thing's 70 pounds.
Yeah.
My spare one's 70, mine's 80 because I have more stuff on it. But I say, look, don't treat it like a regular bicycle. You get on and off, you have your hand on the brake all the time. Because if it starts to roll, it weighs enough, it's going to pull you down.
That's right.
Not like a regular bike. Regular bike is not that heavy.
Right.
And it takes me a while to get them used to the fact you just got to make some habit changes.
Well, you know,
and you're
even
fine.
as we get older, our balance isn't as good as it used to be. You know, and the muscle strength is also, you lose it. I mean, sure, in bicycling, you're trying to keep your muscles up, but at that same time, you're losing something over time.
Now, Greg, you've always been a traditional bike.
I have both.
Yeah, I know, but I know you ended up with the EVs.
Well,
and you like them.
Yeah, and I think the electric bike is more like a motorcycle than a bicycle.
Okay.
But yeah, it can. So I've had going down a big hill. I just wanted to see how fast I could go.
Oh no!
Yeah, I got it up to 42 miles an hour, and to be honest with you, I was scared.
Yeah,
I slowed down pretty fast.
Now, I've got a class 2, which is rated at 20.
Yeah, mine won't go that. Mine will only go 28 miles an hour on the flat,
which is mine will only do 20.
Yeah.
Intentionally, I don't want it to go much faster. Really, I mean, I've tricked the computer to go to 24, but 20 is good.
Yeah, if I gear mine all the way up to 5 and kick it in as much as I can. I can go 28.
So that isn't a class 2 then. That's probably a class 3. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what they are. But I always pedal with mine. I see some people with electric bikes, they just ride them like motorcycles.
You can push the acceleration.
I try not to use it.
Yeah, I try to get it so that I'm pedaling, so I'm getting that workout.
Yeah.
All the time, and not have it geared all the way up. So not 1-to-1, but maybe 1-to-2 or something, whatever that is. And I try to stay there where I'm pedaling all the time, so I get that workout. But then the electric bike.
I'm generally on my bike 5 days a week.
Yeah.
For an hour. And
that's good. That's really good.
And it's all, and I pedal.
Yeah.
And people say, "What's electric?" No, it is electric assist.
Yeah.
But it isn't. But I like them, but I agree with you, Gene. It can get you in trouble because there's people like Greg that'll go on to see if they do 42 down a hill.
Well, the other piece of the puzzle is that law enforcement's going to start stepping in and doing some stuff too. We got some issues with safety of electric bikes on sidewalks going 20 miles an hour in the opposite direction of the traffic, which is just compounding it into an almost automatic accident. It just there's too much stuff that the bicyclists have forgotten about. The rules of the road are still applicable to all the bikes, regardless.
Of course,
and that's part that my concern is we don't. I don't know what it takes to get a driver's license today, but it doesn't seem like it takes very much. And you get a young person in there, and that's fine. But there's still a lot of stuff they don't know. Some of the physics of driving a car is something you got to deal with, and you got to be aware of what's going to happen as you move into a situation.
Now, EV bikes, everyone I've seen, they won't sell them to anyone under 16 generally. I mean, it's not made for someone under 16.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Well, like if you order them online or whatever, you have to be older than that. And there's all the literature out that's not for under 16. The federal government, I think they're the ones that started putting some rules on it that they're going to start making you get a motorcycle license and register the bike as a motorcycle if it's beyond class 2. And that's some states are already doing that. And mine's a class 2, so I'm under that veil. But if it goes beyond 20 miles an hour and it's over 750 watts horsepower, then or watts, which is the power, they're saying that they're going to start making you have a motorcycle license, a helmet, and all that stuff, which I think is fair at some point.
Yeah.
Because some of these bikes, yours goes 28. I've seen some of them go 35, 40 and they call it a bicycle.
Yeah. Well, and I wear a helmet all the time.
I do too.
I did on I rode a motorcycle too, but yeah, and I
don't wear a motorcycle helmet. I wear one that's upgraded.
Yeah.
It's a European model, but it's made for a 15-mile-an-hour impact instead of a 7-mile-an-hour impact.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, that's Gene, you were talking about. A lot of people don't know that you're supposed to ride with traffic.
Right.
And as we know here around Yuma, riding my road bike, we don't have enough bike paths.
That's true.
And and it's I drove my car down Fortuna Road just yesterday, and man, it was scary. There were motorcycles running red lights and cars turning in front of me. There was just that road is crazy.
You were on your bicycle?
No, I was in the car.
I'm scared.
I was in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Nicole's sitting there going, holy crap. And also we get the next intersection. Somebody pulls out right in front of us, a big, huge van. She goes, whoa, let's get off this road. It was, and motorcycles were like whipping around cars that were waiting to make a left turn. And they made a left turn through a red light in front of me. And it was just, it was crazy. And then you compound that with being on a bicycle. I'm
pro bike, and I'll tell you, I do 90% of mine off the streets. I'm not on the streets. 90%
when you have the fat tires, like you have
I do. I have the 4-inch tires. I have mine's like a BMX.
Yeah, and you can ride on the canal roads.
I do.
They're really nice. If you have a road bike, you can do that too.
I can do gravel, canal, dirt, mud. I've been in the mud. That's not fun.
Yeah, if you have a dirt bike, I should say.
Well, the part that I like about the motorcycle aspect of it is that they have a class that you can take. I think it's sponsored by the police department or somebody. I'm not sure exactly, but it's in the licensing process of being able to have a motorcycle And I think if we could do that with electric bikes and put that into that same class, regardless of the type and the speed potential, it's just a significant difference between a normal man-powered bicycle to an electric or motorbike.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. I remember the first couple of times I rode the e-bike. It was like, it takes a little bit getting used to. It's like driving the Tesla.
Right. It took some while to get used to it. It really was weird.
When you put my Tesla down, I thought you were going to lose it, but
I tried to lose it, but it didn't have enough power.
yeah. But it's the same thing with an e-bike. It's the first couple of times you got to get used to it. You're shifting gears and how fast it can go. And
that's why I take people out. They say they're interested in buying one. I said, let me take you out first. And I've done that to quite a few people, just to get them used to the difference and to start respecting a little differently. It's 80 pounds, and it'll hurt you if you don't know what you're doing.
And you got to understand that if you move those pedals, the bike's going to go. And it's not just like a little bit. I mean, it's going to take off.
Depending on where you have it set.
Yes, exactly. You have to be careful.
I usually have it on the 1 to 2s.
Right. Yeah.
Because I want to pedal.
Yeah.
Unless I'm in a hurry, then a 3s and 4s.
Yeah. But if you have it on a 5 and you just touch those pedals, that bike's going to lurch down the road. Yeah.
That's right.
There's nothing you can do to stop it.
Well, Gene, you got the Tour de Fields coming up again, which is, I am so thrilled with Welton as a destination.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
It is, and we just talked about some of the craziness Greg ran into and some of the traffic. You're not going to get that in Welton.
That's true. I wonder why.
Well, there's not as many people out there.
That's true.
But they're so welcoming. I was so surprised the first time I rode in Welton out there on that route.
Yeah.
The neighbors out in there were so enthused about it and so thrilled to see people. They were out in the front yard waving.
That's the way. I mean, that's the community acceptance.
It is.
Greeting, you might say. And we're making it a 2-day affair now. So we're doing it Friday, which is going to start at 4:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then we have things planned throughout that day, primarily to encourage people to come early, get registered, get settled. We got good rates with the hotel out there. There are camping spaces in the park that we can make available to people who prefer to do that. We also have some places for people to park their RVs if they want to do that. At Yuma, believe it or not, Yuma isn't that far away from Melton.
No.
We have a major block that somehow sits in the middle of it called the mountain.
Yeah.
And, that makes it a little bit different for most humans.
Most cars can get over that.
Well, yeah, usually pretty well. Bicycles have a little trouble from time to time. We have
take your time.
Kind of a campaign to keep it cleaned up enough to be able to ride over. But
I don't know if there's enough of a path. Well, I guess there's a shoulder.
There is. It's a good freeway shoulder, but it collects a lot of trash. The speed of the vehicles and utility vehicles that are out there and what have you, it seems to lose a lot one way or another. And it can be kind of dangerous. But so we kind of stay on Public Works and the Arizona Department of Transportation and keeping it as clean as possible. But they have schedules and they have equipment issues and all these other things. So not as good. But anyway, my point is that Yuma and Welton's not that far apart.
No.
I mean, people in the valley drive that distance back and forth to work just every day, and we think, and I don't know what it is, but Yuma kind of comfortable at the 10-mile, 15-mile range, 15 minutes in the car. Things are expanding a little bit. Traffic's getting a little bit more heavy, and the traffic signals, I think, are lasting longer. So it packages up the traffic a little bit better and getting along the roadways. But so instead of 15 minutes, now takes about 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah. Now, this is your 7th annual Tour de Fields.
Yes, it is.
It's been in San Luis, which I loved out when it was in Somerton.
That's right.
And
we knew him too.
But it's been in Welton now. This is the 3rd year in a row.
Well, that's right. Yeah, 3rd year. And
I think it should just stay there.
I think that's how it's going to happen. And we're really at a 6-month interval between the Mayor's Bike Ride, which is in October. 6 months later, then we have the Tour de Fields in March. And I think that's a nice separation of those rides. They're the only 2 official bike rides, organized bike rides in the city, in the county. And I think that it's a good thing. I would like to have more. I know there are groups that ride more, The Foothills Club rides pretty regularly.
And electric bikes are allowed.
Yes.
I've ridden my electric bike.
Yes.
And I had a good time.
Yes.
The 3-mile run, 30 miles, 60 mile, and then the long ride. What's longer than 60 miles? What do you
Well, we have it at 100 miles.
Okay.
And when you go on you can get on the website with that QR code that's on the flyer here, and you can see the route. You can see
How many people do the 100?
Not many.
There's
Not
a few.
many. 15, 20 maybe.
A lot.
Well, it's a crowd to them.
Yeah.
Of course, what happens, as everybody knows, you start out together. It doesn't take long for that group to spread out to be pretty thin.
Right.
But, and they're kind of the timing issue of our event too, because they're the longest, so we want to get them out and back and have them come in at about the same time the other rides come in.
So you kick them out at what, 7 in the morning or something?
I think it's going to be a little later this year. I think 8 is probably going to be the start time this year. Last year, one of the comments was it was cold. Oh, well, it's February. It was cold. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad to think that are relatively normal. It's nice to have cooler weather in the wintertime. So it's so this year, March, we're doing it on the 20th and the 21st.
Yeah, the 20th will be the pre-registration.
Yeah.
And you call it a bike bash. What is a bike bash?
Well, we're going to have food trucks there, and we're going to have music.
Okay.
We're going to put on a movie.
A movie?
A bicycle somehow connected movie. And, it's all around. There's going to be a DJ there that'll help you in your advertising of your business of MCing.
All right.
And then they're going to do a night bike parade, for the lighted bikes. We'll go around the city of.
My bike's light. I have lights all over.
Yeah, well, bring them on, go out and ride with them. That's
I look like Christmas.
Yeah, but we're trying to make it that event that you were kind of leading up to, that it's really something of a weekend, almost kind of an affair. And I think it has great potential to do that. Some people, like I said, I just think it's too far away. So we'll get people from San Diego and from Los Angeles and from Tucson and from Phoenix and from Las Vegas and what have you. They don't mind driving down to come to that event.
Yeah, well,
but you know, driving across the mountain, that's a big one.
But now the 20th is the bash. The event actually is the 21st.
Correct.
And then you have a lunch afterwards.
Yeah, something. We have a nice spaghetti dinner kind of planned as the people are coming in at the the noontime 11, something like that. I think is right. But the food trucks will be there, I think, all day too. So, and then we'll get some produce from Sprouts and from Del Sol. So they'll have bananas and apples and stuff like that, oranges and whatsoever. To snack on. And there'll be other stuff that's out there too. So it'll just be all around good time, I think.
I've always enjoyed it, and I like this venue a ton. So,
right.
Except I've been helping out, so I won't ride.
Well, that's all right. You can ride. But, take your microphone and how big a range do you have with you?
Not enough. Not enough.
You can't do that.
No. I won't be able to ride anyway. I'm going in for surgery on Friday.
Oh no!
I'm getting a pacemaker put in.
Oh my!
And then an ablation on March 5th. Now they're both outpatients.
Yeah,
and all that. And I'll be fine for that, but I don't want to really get. I'm not going to be healed enough to get on a bike.
You. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You're
right.
I'll be enough to talk, and I'm not going to take any time off the radio. I'll be here every day.
Yeah.
It's not very strenuous in here unless I bump into, but I'm not gonna risk a bicycle
right
at that point.
No, you're smart. I mean, your healing is a little different when you're a little older now.
That's not the way I think about it.
Even though you're the youngest man in the room, you're still
man in the
old.
room, right? Yeah, I'm going to become bionic here very shortly, though.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I mean, that's one thing. When you look in the history and you see the age of people and they were dying in their 50s, or maybe they'll make it to 60, and they think that, oh, gee, that was pretty old in the 20s or before, and now we're living up more senior. We're getting 70, 80, 90 years old.
Oh yeah. And what I'm going through shouldn't put a damper on any of that. It's just I don't want to go under the knife, Gene.
Well, I'll tell you, I went through a procedure at the VA recently. Had a cystectomy, and boy, I'm telling you, that's just not a lot of fun.
No, it's nothing you'd sign up for like a Disney trip
No,
or something.
for sure. But it was very important that it happened. I had a kidney removed, and largely from they connected with Agent Orange in Vietnam.
Okay.
That was the VA did the surgery, and this is just a follow up. It's something to check.
Yeah, but your other kidney's working fine. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing all that it can do for one kidney, trying to make up for the one that's lost.
You had to give up your 12-pack of beer a night.
Yeah,
You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that wasn't so bad. I didn't drink that much beer, but the wine in the afternoon is always kind of nice, and not so much anymore.
No. I understand that completely. Are you keeping track of all the government stuff that's going on? Or you try not to cause your blood pressure?
You're right. I love our country. I love. I've served in the Army for a long time, and I agree that everybody should have some service to the country. I believe that every high school student ought to spend some time in the military after graduation to kind of get connected with the rest of the world, and it works. It's a good idea. But what I don't like is I don't like the bickering back and forth and the
it's gotten more intense, Jane.
Yeah, well, and I know it's been going on like that right from the very beginning of our.
But I don't. Yeah, but I think the intensity's picked up. The ridiculousness is picked up.
I think the availability of the information is more accessible.
Probably very true too.
And with what do they call it? Fake news, that's out there that people trying to make something that's not.
Right.
So I vote, and I vote based on the information that I have provided from the best source that I can find. Like Craig.
So it's hard to find good sources on. I mean, now it's like you see something on Facebook or Instagram, whatever your text, whatever you do, but the first thing now that I've gotten in the habit, because my wife is on me, is I go to check the source. I use Chat GPT, another source, to find out, is this real or not? And it's like 90% of the time it's just totally made up, and it's crazy now. But you have to do that so you get the right information, like what you're talking
in order
about.
to be able to believe it. That's right.
Right. Yeah.
And and then the other concern I have is AI. How much they take from the story of somebody. I think there's some stories on YouTube now they sound wonderful and they're very emotional and all that stuff, but I think they're just fabricated.
Yeah. Including people in pictures. And
yeah,
it's amazing what people are, like, you think, like, how much time did they spend doing this? But then with AI, it's like, it's cranking them out like crazy.
Yeah, we could make a picture about you, Jane, real quick, but you'd have to have a lot of explaining to your wife.
Oh, yeah.
I swear to you, that's not me.
Yeah, well, I got a really pretty sharp wife.
Yeah, she'll figure it out.
Yeah,
she's with the flight attendant with the Flying Tigers during Vietnam.
She's a good lady.
She drove truck for Swift, and she worked on the Alaska pipeline for 20 years. So she's very, very capable.
You better treat her right, man.
And she checks me all the time.
Yeah, I have one of those too.
Yeah, hey, in fact, she sent a notice to both of us to talk about the city council forum at the VFW.
Oh yeah, we forgot about that. The debate.
I'm trying to save you.
Yes,
Greg.
That's what I wanted.
You got to go home.
About. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I watched the debate. Derek wasn't there. That's unfortunate. He had some things, I think, with Rotary or something he had to do. But I listened to it, and so there were a lot of interesting points. I think Carol actually did really well at it, but and they're in this discussion about public safety, and again, Kennedy Pool again, and I was there when we were trying to figure out what to do with Kennedy Pool, and we actually got the community to donate money. Johnny Porter was part of that.
Yeah.
The community donated money so kids could go for free. and offset some of the costs. And so we kept the pool open for a couple of years, and we watched numbers at Kennedy Pool, and people have grew up with Kennedy Pool, and they have this connection from when they're children and Kennedy Pool and that kind of stuff. But literally, even though it was free to go to Kennedy Pool, we would maybe have five people.
That's it?
5 kids. Yep. 3 to 5 kids normally on a daily basis would go to Kennedy Pool. And when obviously when you looked at it, and the pool was dying then, and it's pretty much dead now.
Hasn't been open for years.
Yeah, and the pool, because the pool won't hold water anymore. It's got some big cracks in it, and it can't be repaired. The plumbing, what the sun and this heat and stuff does to plumbing and stuff. So the plumbing's all shot. Everything's shot in the pool, so it pretty much cannot be repaired. And at the time, I think we got a $14 million cost to replace the pool.
That sounds outrageous.
Well, $14 million for 5 kids is a little bit much. Right. And so some of the positions by at least one of the council members that, they want to do Kennedy Pool is kind of ridiculous. I believe the cost now would be closer to $30 million.
To put a pool in?
Well, you have to understand how putting in a pool of that size with all the things that are needed, and plus, normally you would probably have to have it heated. Not necessarily, but probably have to get it heated for people to come. When it's open early in the season, the cost is significant. And actually, one of the swim teams came in to look at, they wanted to put in a full Olympic pool, and you're familiar with the swim teams, I think you both are.
Right.
But, and they looked at it to see if they wanted to try to go out on a fundraising campaign to try to get it done, and they backed away from it because of the cost. It's not, I remember I put my first pool in 1996, and it cost me about 10 grand. And then I put one in about half the size. I'm just doing it right now. It's like 35 grand. So it's gone up like 3 times plus.
Yeah.
And I was talking to another friend, and his had gone up like 5 times to have one put in. But, so the cost is significant, and you have to weigh all that stuff out. And then the other thing they got into debate was they wanted more police officers. Everybody wants more police officers, and they wanted something.
Not in Minneapolis. We should take theirs.
Yeah. Well, they don't have them anymore.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. They wanted like 50 officers, and they want to be the 5th highest paid police force around. But then on the other side of it, then they say, well, we want to be pro-business, and we want low taxes. Well, those things don't go together.
Not necessarily.
No, because you're talking about the only thing that the council has, and that's part of the inexperience, but the only thing the council has at their feet to be able to do is property taxes. So what you're talking about is probably having to double your property taxes. So now you weigh, putting in a new pool, more cops, higher paid cops, and there's nothing more important than public safety, but you have to balance that all in place. And when you tell somebody from the community, we're going to double your property taxes, they're going to step back from that. And so it's all a balancing act. It's, as you know, from being on the board of supervisors, that's all a balancing act. And you want your police department to be fully staffed. You want your fire department to be fully staffed.
So if you were to have a crystal ball and tell me, you think that Kennedy Pool will ever come back online?
It may, but it'd have to be some sort of a additional bond or something like that.
Yeah.
I think, because people may not know, but we already have a public safety tax. There's already a tax that supports police and fire, that goes for equipment and that kind of stuff. And we already have a road tax that's already been put in place. We also have a they're taxed to support the parks, the hospitality tax that comes from hotels for that kind of stuff. So those 3 taxes are already in place. So what you're talking about is having to raise more taxes again, which is counter to the low taxes and pro-business, because a huge portion of the taxes comes out of business pocket, and they don't want to pay more taxes.
So how many bike paths could be built for $15 million?
A lot.
Well, they've done a lot of work over at Kennedy Park.
Right.
Oh yeah.
They put in that bike event like a pump track or something like that. And
the skateboard.
Yeah. But the bicycles get over there too, the 20-inch bicycles, and even some of the larger ones, they get over there and they do their activity and keep them going. So
I drive my bike through there when no one's around.
Yeah, and you put in a skate, increase the size of the skate park, which they're doing.
They did, yeah.
Which you probably have, I don't know, on certain days, 30, 40 kids out there using, always out there, and there's not much to maintain it versus putting in, a $14 million plus pool, which supports 5 kids and has a huge maintenance. I can't remember, if it's $800,000 a year or something like that to spend on the pools for maintenance.
It's a lot of chlorine.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. Well, plus you got to have lifeguards, you got to have all that other stuff that you support, and yeah. So I mean, those are all trade-offs, and I think running for council, you need to understand that. You need to get yourself up to speed. I did like what Derek basically said. I want to see an assessment. I want to see, and Ron, I think, said the same thing. He goes, I'd have to look at, this Kennedy pool, see what the analysis says and what it tells us and what it's going to cost, and it like I said, I mean, we ran that test and for a couple of years, and we're averaging like five kids at the pool, and of course, more of the kids go to Marcus, and then what's the pool down below, down by Cibola? I keep forgetting that name, but anyway, a lot of kids go down there, and of course, that's where the swim team uses the one down by Cibola,
and that one's only 10 years old.
No, it's a lot older than that.
It's been around a while. Okay.
Yeah, I was with.
I remember when they built it.
Yes. Yeah.
So I figured it can't be old.
No, it was built while I was still in the IT department, and I was in the IT department for 10 years, and then almost 10 years as city manager, and I've been retired now for 6.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's
Easy Street.
Probably 20 years old.
Remember we were talking about Nancy, the Tucson kidnapped lady?
Yes, Nancy Guthrie.
I mentioned something about, it's a Walmart shopping backpack and some gloves.
Clothes, yeah.
Edward wanted to correct something on us.
Okay.
He said items purchased at Walmart would be brilliant as they are sold across the country, making the tracking down of everyone who bought it next to impossible. Cheap does not mean stupid.
Yeah. Well, if they, the other thing too is think about
That's
if
very
they
true.
paid cash, then there'd be no tracking,
But-
the credit card, but they'd still have the cameras at the checkout register.
But yeah, there's thousands of Walmarts. How do you know?
That's true. There's probably, I don't know what we have. What do we have? 3, 4?
Yeah, we have 3.
3.
We have
4.
4 if you include
San Luis.
the one that's groceries only.
Yeah, well, and the 5th one down in San Luis, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
That's right.
Yeah, 5. Yeah. So, how many does Tucson have? I'm guessing. I don't know.
If
At
they
least
bought it
5.
at Tucson, they'd probably be better off going to New Mexico and buying it.
Well, he's right, but it would be.
Yeah, if you wanted to buy something that can't be traced, get it at Walmart because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Although they do have good security systems, there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah, they have obviously they have an amazing logistics system to track all their inventory and that kind of stuff, and they all have different SKUs. But yeah, Edward's right, like normal.
Yeah, okay, well, go ahead, suck up. Well, man, let's take a break. We'll be right back. AM 560 KBLU.
Forecast for today, partly cloudy skies, 73, winds increasing later to 20-mile-per-hour gusts. Partly cloudy, breezy tonight, slight chance of rain, 53. 73, partly cloudy tomorrow, clear and 49 tomorrow night.
Hello, my name is Denise Coronado, Director of Volunteer Services. Hospice of Yuma is thrilled to be the first hospice organization in Yuma County and one of 9 in the state of Arizona to achieve the Level 5 We Honor Veterans status. This honor reflects years of dedicated efforts by staff and volunteers to meet veterans' needs. We're committed to providing the highest level of care and support to veterans and their families. To become a vet-to-vet volunteer or for more information about Hospice of Yuma services, please call our office at 928-343-2222 or visit our website at hospiceofyuma.com.
What's up, Yuma, and hello, Russ Clark Show listeners. Johnny Porter here, and I just made the switch to Allo Fiber, and it's a game changer. Lightning fast speeds for streaming, working from home, and gaming. No buffering or slowed down speeds. It's time to ditch the glitch and switch to Allo Fiber.
This is as real as it gets. Get up, get up, feed the dog, feed the kids, out the door, work, pick up kids, dinner, bath, bed, repeat. You strive all day to make life better for them, so why not make life better for you? Get Strive at Avenir Financial. No frills, no cost, no monthly fee. Open a Strive checking today at avenirfinancial.org. Certain restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
There's a man you see. He's 6'3". He's fine.
AM 560 KBL. Russ Clark with you. Gene Toppy's still here.
I am.
Great.
Forever and ever. Amen.
Greg Wilkinson.
Yep, I'm here too.
It is. Fraud has become, I guess, a buzzword that everyone's talking about a little bit, except Gene. But Minnesota really opened it up. Greg's hometown, Minneapolis.
No, not Minneapolis. Although I went to, so Minneapolis was a great place back in the 70s and late 70s and stuff. When I was there, it was all kinds of restaurants and retail. Dayton's is a major retail. It's all gone. I think Murray's is the only restaurant that's left there now. And
They still have the Mall of America there and all that?
That's not in Minneapolis though.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so Minneapolis now is a waste. It's basically a wasteland, boarded up shops.
Yeah.
But they have the stadiums down there now. So the only reason people go down is to go to Murray's, which is a great restaurant, or go to one of the games. But other than that, Minneapolis used to be a great place to go. Restaurants, bars, that kind of stuff. Now it's horrible what they've done to Minneapolis.
Well, if you're in the fraud game right now, you got to be nervous because the Minneapolis and Minnesota has really put it in the visibility area where it's really getting hammered and looked at. But now politicians across the nation are starting to look. And we've got a lady in Massachusetts. She's an auditor that is a Democrat. But even the Dems can't ignore it anymore. And Diane Izoglo, she's a state auditor. And she says, what are they hiding? Is there nothing to hide? Open up the doors. Let the sun shine in. Let's do an audit. Because they've uncovered nearly $12 million of alleged fraud in public assistance programs. Yeah. So it's starting to become popular. They start looking at it. And I guess in a lot of places, whistleblowers got punished.
Yes.
People that looked at it got hammered.
Yes. And that's one of the things with Walls that he did punish some of those whistleblowers and they got in trouble for coming forward.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a whistleblower that actually helped that kid make it go viral. He had all the knowledge. He had all the research. The kid just did a great job with the camera. Nick exposed it. But he had that guy right on his right hand the whole time.
Yes.
Telling him the numbers, telling him what's going on and what it looks like. But Nick took it to the streets, put a camera in front of it, and pushed that thing viral, something that whistleblower had been trying to do for years.
Yep.
And just blew it all up. And now the whole nation's worried about little Nicks running around with cameras.
Well, yeah. Well, and they should take care of business. I mean, $9 billion I think they've crossed, and now they're talking $19 billion just in Minnesota. And supposedly I think he went out to California to do some stuff out there, but he's got to have a full security detail now because what he's exposing.
Well, she mentions, and Diane mentions this about doing audits and stuff. She said this is something that 72% of the voters have come out to support across party lines to do audits to find the fraud. You had progressive Democrats joining together with conservative Republicans and essentially saying that they want this audit to get done, which is amazing to me. Not that 72% support it. It's amazing to me that the politicians haven't pushed it sooner, knowing that they all support it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. And, you think about it, and, the money that they frauded in Minnesota was supposed to go to Children's Resource Center, autistic programs, feeding the homeless and hungry.
Taxis for those that can't make it to hospitals.
And those are all key Democrat programs that are all, failures now because the people in charge haven't been watching the money. So, yeah, I would think Democrats would be all over this even more than Republicans. But we'll have to see.
But the people in power are 100% against checking the fraud. The people in power are 100% against checking for voter identification, which the public is 84% in favor of.
Yeah.
And yet the Democrats are, with the exception of Fetterman, 100 minus Fetterman is for that as far as people in power. I don't get it. I mean, they're not wanting to please the voters. They don't care. They're more scared of the results than they are of the voters.
Yeah. Well, and I think, what my wife always talks about is power.
Yes.
People get hooked on power, and she would like a litmus test for power. So anybody that runs for office has to take this litmus test, make sure they're not hooked on power before they get in office.
If they don't have an ego, they're not going to be running in the first place.
That's true, but there's a difference between, we all have egos,
right?
But there's a difference between having an ego and being psycho on power.
Ego and psycho. I have a psycho ego.
And you take, like we just talked about Robeson. Robeson obviously has an ego.
Sure.
And she wanted to be there, but she is not drunk on power because she's like, okay, I can't do this. I'm going to do the realistic thing. I'm going to step back and not waste my money. To me, that's somebody that wants to be in charge, but she's not drunk on power.
That's a huge step. The second step I'd like to see is her to get support.
Yeah.
Because look, she was running for an office looking for universal support when she won.
Right.
She should give that universal support.
Yeah.
Also,
and I think she will.
She didn't under Carrie Lake, and hopefully that was an anomaly and not her legacy.
Yeah, but Carrie Lake went after her personally.
Sure.
And I don't think that belongs in politics either. You should run on what your qualifications are and not.
But it doesn't mean you become what you don't believe in because somebody did something else you don't believe in. You don't become your enemy.
Right.
You got to stay the high ground. I lost a lot of respect for her when she did that.
Yeah.
But I'm gaining it back.
Yeah.
She's doing the right thing, and I'll always accept that.
Yep.
And acknowledge it. Because we need that. Because if the Republicans unified, we wouldn't have the problems we're having. Because we wouldn't have the people in office that are running the problems. We just didn't unify, and then we end up with Democrats running things, including 2 U.S. senators that I totally disagree with.
Yep.
On so many levels. And I don't know if you saw Fetterman, but he's out there saying that he's negative about Chuck Schumer's programs. He says, I would never refer to the SAFE Act as like Jim Crow 2.0 or some kind of mass conspiracy. But that's part of the debate that we're having here in the Senate right now. And I don't call people names or imply that there's something gross about the terrible history of Jim Crow.
Well, and wasn't Jim Crow a Democrat thing?
Yeah, it was.
What? And that's what's so
it's from
crazy.
the deep South.
Yeah,
where they made policies that to keep blacks from voting.
Right. And they come out and use all these things, and it was the Democrats that were behind slavery.
But
Democrats were behind Jim Crow.
Chuck Schumer and other Democrats, they go to these extremes and scream it's Jim Crow or Trump's Nazi and it's Hitler, and people have got to get weary of that. Like, what are you talking about? It's not. But they seem very comfortable voting against something that 84% of the total population's for and 71% of direct Democrats are positive for.
Right.
And they say, don't care, we're going to vote against because it's Jim Crow. You people voted for me, don't know what you're talking about. And they feel very comfortable with it. Like they're not going to lose votes. And maybe they won't. I don't know.
I don't know. I and I've seen that. I've seen it seems like the Republicans always have a few that are no's that don't follow party line, but it's almost, Fetterman that's the only one you can name on the Democrat side that has
Is it consistent?
Yeah, he has his consistent morals, ethics, and where he thinks things should be, and wherever that is, that's the way he votes. And there's not a lot. There's not a lot of them that are out there.
So many people tell me, well, I don't look at the party. I just vote for the person. Because I think they're naive and they don't understand. Once you get up there, that's all there is party.
Yeah.
With the exception of Fetterman.
Mm-hmm.
He is an exception. Yeah. Maybe he is the one that's a person, but most of his, voting is going to be pro-progressive stuff. But he doesn't go for stupid.
Yeah. But, it's maybe kind of, but, we talked about Robeson being a class act because, she took the high road and did that stuff. Well, and Fetterman, you can say the same thing. He's a class act, even though he wears gym shorts and a hoodie. But
he looks like Lurch.
Yeah. but he does wear a suit and stuff when he's on the floor. But and he's a class act in his way, and he's got his, and that's why I like him. I like Harold Ford Jr. And he's got where he stands, and they're Democrats. And they said, yes, I'm a Democrat, but this is too far, and and I like that on the Republican side too. When every once in a while something stupid on the Republican side comes forward, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, Republicans will eat their own first, though.
Yeah,
they've got more Fetterman type.
They do. There are a lot more,
which makes it like herding cats. The Democrats sometimes you got to envy because they say do it this way, they all get in line, except for Fetterman.
Yeah,
you really got to sell the Republicans.
Yeah,
you're not going to go tell John Kennedy what to do.
No, and Massey and Collins and you can go on Rand Paul.
He's his own guy.
Yeah.
And Democrats don't really have that.
See, what we need is like an organization like Feline Friends to go up there and bring the cat together.
If that works, man, I'd probably be helping with that. Yeah. One thing about Iran, I don't really understand what's going on in Iran. I know we bombed the nuclear power plants, or where they were making uranium for actually weapon grade, and now we're saber rattling again, saying, "Look, we're going to come again because you guys are rebuilding." It looks like, which probably kind of rebuilding from scratch because my understanding is we pretty much obliterated what they had.
They still have some stockpile of uranium, Anyway,
so the power plays on. We got 2 aircraft carriers out there now. We got the Ford and the Abraham Lincoln out there, as well as like 4 missile destroyers and some other support ships. Support ships.
Yeah.
And with the promise, and I trust Trump in that if he says he's going to do something, he so far has proven that he will. He's not cross the red line and I'll do something.
And
like
I think
Obama.
I think he will. I think he's negotiating from a position of power.
Yeah.
And
consistency.
Yeah. And he's going to say, okay, here's the deal. You can't enrich, you can't have nukes, you can't have ICBMs.
And you can't kill your civilians.
Yeah, and you can't kill your civilians.
But if they don't kill the civilians, they're going to lose power.
That may be true. That may be true, but
it's their tactic.
Yeah. But I think if those things, and so far Iran hasn't agreed to those stipulations. So I think that is.
They specifically say they're not going to, but then there's that caveat. Well, don't trust what they say publicly.
Yeah, I know, and you can never trust what Iran says or not. And
they say death's America every day.
Yeah, but I think that's only the hierarchy within Iran and a small nucleus of people, the IRGC and all that stuff. But the people are not in line with the government, and they're oppressed, and inflation's out of control. And so what's going to happen is either Iran agrees to that with terms and conditions that they can inspect and enforce those conditions, or Trump's gonna hit them again.
That's what he says, and I take him at his word.
Yeah,
they're meeting in Geneva today, I think. Nuclear talks. Not real sure if Iran's going to show up, but they're supposed to have a meeting in Geneva. But Iran can probably say they're not going, but then go anyway. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to deal with these.
Well, if they don't show that, that's the message. That's the message to Trump. It's like, we're not going to participate, and Trump's going to say, okay, fine.
They got so many sanctions.
Yeah, my understanding, they got like a weeks-long campaign. So they already have targets and everything picked out for a week-long campaign with 2 carriers plus all the Air Force assets.
You're just sending the Ford out there because you're bored. No. To send the Ford and that whole battle group.
$10 million a day.
Is that what it is?
That's what it costs, yeah.
Chump change.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and especially when you already have the Abraham Lincoln and a bunch of stuff already out there. I mean, how much more force do you have to show? Or
and if people get like $10 million a day, wow, what a waste!
But they're spending it no matter what.
Exactly. The Lincoln and the Ford are going to be someplace else.
Yeah, and still be $10 million a day.
Yeah. So
doesn't matter where they are.
Right. This is a sustained level, but
you take them into ports, $1 million a day.
Yeah, and you start expending ordnance and that kind of stuff. Now that's going to run up some additional money, but you're paying for those.
You're only going to shoot the old ordnance before it expires anyway.
Yeah, we'll probably pass that with Ukraine and stuff like that. I would hope.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I want to mention again, Doug, our mayor, Doug Nichols, is going to be having an event tonight at I think 5:30
at Lutz.
At Lutz Casino.
5:30 at Lutz.
Meet and greet.
Yep.
Come by and meet him, greet him, and sign. He needs signatures.
Yeah.
He really needs a lot of signatures. He's running unopposed, which means he doesn't have to buy a lot of commercials.
Right.
But he needs some signatures.
Yeah, he needs 1,000 signatures. It's up from 400 last time. Now it's about 1,000.
But 1,000 is just the minimum. And you need 1,500 because it's going to get challenged. And some of those signatures are not going to pass muster.
Yeah.
Especially when you go out to places and sign, people say, oh, yeah, I'm registered and all that. They sign, and they may not be. And that's the whole game.
Right.
That you got to check and make sure you cover yourself, and Doug's smart enough to do that.
Yes.
He is. But go out and see him tonight, 5:30 at Lutz Casino. Sign, show your support. He's supported us for a lot of years now. He's been really good. And you worked with him every day.
Yep. For 10 years.
And you've worked for some very bad ones. So
I have.
You can appreciate the difference.
I have.
Also, Tour de Fields, we want to make sure we mention that. And that's going to be March 20th. So we got time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's the Friday.
But I could be here every day talking about it if you don't.
Oh, I bet you can talk about bikes every day.
I would. We missed the whole subject of bicycling in general. And that's, but some of our sponsors are Pilkington and the Regional Center for Border Health and through RDO and some really good organizations. Of course, the new name for YRMC, Anvita. And Chevron and Gowan, so they're all standing up and doing the support for the bike ride.
We'll have you back before March 20th.
I hope. Tomorrow's fine.
Okay. Do you anytime. And the 20th is a pre-registration in the bike pass, but you can register today.
Online, absolutely. And we would really prefer that.
Sure, because then you know what they're planning and what to do.
Yeah, they come out and they can enjoy the time and don't have
to go online. How do we do that? Just Tour de Fields?
tourdefields.org.
Okay.
Is the URL, I guess.
I'm sure if you put Welton Bike 7th Annual and hit enter, you'll probably get it.
You probably would. Yeah.
Or you can call Gene directly. I got his cell phone.
That's right.
There.
Put it up.
928-920-8482. And if you need any information, you give him a call. But it's a 3-mile fun run. It's a 30-miler, a 60-mile, and then a long ride for you 100-mile guys. My batteries don't last that long.
Thank you, Russ.
I can't do that. Thank you, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. AM 560 KBLU. Life, Death, and the Law up next.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.